Hey, good morning. Going to do something a little different today. First time I've really messed around with the computer and a Word document. You're not going to see me on camera, but I'm Mike Bingham. I'd like to talk a little bit about price discounting strategy in industrial sales. And the first thing I'd like to tell you is price is what the machine cost is based on the cost to manufacture it, obviously. It's based on the profit margin after completion. It's backwards thinking if you think about it. Most price-sensitive things are on the shelf, already manufactured. It's just a matter of moving inventory, and they've got nothing to lose by cutting price. Price is what the customer pays for the machine at that time of negotiation. It's got nothing to do about true value. Get that in your mind. Don't think price, think value, think true value. Discounting is not salesmanship. It's bottom feeding. It's poor salesmanship at best. It cheapens everything associated with it and everybody associated with it, including your reputation, the brand's reputation, and the customer. It cheapens and lowers perceived quality of the product. It sends a bad message about your product. And basically it's saying, well, if I'm going to discount, I was overpriced to begin with. On a quality, high-end product, that's something to be guarded. And the last thing you want to do is have to reduce price. Discounting is a race to the bottom. So what do you do about this? How do you counter somebody that's going to cut the price 20%, 30%, and you're basically screwed because you got no margin and you got no commission left? In other words, you've already lost the sale. Well, don't get yourself in that position to begin with. Justify your price. Simply put, you got to tell the customer why your product costs what it does. And turn this into a weakness, turn this a perceived overpriced weakness into one of your strengths. Let's have a quick review here. I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I've surveyed my customer base, emails usually, in-person phone interviews, this kind of thing. But basically there's 5 things that always appear in the top 5 category. And the price and value are always in the top 5. Price, not so much, but one of the two is, because some people interchange price and value. We'll get into a little more detail on that later, but it's always in the top 5. Also in the top 5, and the top 3 is quality, at least for my customer base. Quality is key. Dependability, reliability are also in there, but those are the big 3 that I think are important: quality, dependability, and value. A quick note on quality. Can you have dependability without quality? I don't think so. Actually, dependability is a quality. It's one of the best qualities out there. Therefore, quality is dependability. You think about it, what poor quality product gives you dependability? And if you think about it, it's going to be very hard to think of a cheap, poorly manufactured item that you can rely on. We can rely on it to break down, but that's about the only thing. So those are the 3 key words to think about and keep in your mind during this presentation, which brings us to marketing Darwinism. It's pretty obvious that the Madison Avenue is not the marketing geniuses that they think they are, and the people in the boardroom also think they are. Markets sort out products through marketing Darwinism. Darwinism, if you're not familiar with it, is about a scientist that visited a small island in the South Ohio River called Gallipolis, and he looked at a bunch of turtles there and discovered social or Darwinism, which is survival of the species. We evolve. The strong survive. The weak don't make it to the next branch of their generation. This kind of thing. We have the same thing going on in marketing. People are not dumb. People know when the BS is at a high content. Like, give you an example. Coca-Cola tried to push new Coke on us and came back with a vengeance. They had to come out with classic Coke, which is just the old Coca-Cola it's always been. A big faux pas. That's again, it's Madison Avenue trying to read minds. They'd have us using Blackberries, not iPhones. They have us watching beta VCRs, not VHSs for you older folks. And don't forget Samsung Galaxy. If you are a smoker, you'll love that particular brand. Don't forget McDonald's McWings and my favorite, watermelon Oreos. Who would ever have thought of that one? But you guys are the salesmen in front of the customer, and that gives you a huge advantage. People want to buy from people they like. I think we've heard that before, and that's a fact. My dad used to say, people want somebody to holler at. Well, if you're buying a $100,000 machine, you dang sure want to have somebody to holler at. You want to see so you can look that guy in the eye, and that's what it's all about, credibility. As we said in the very first tape or video. Tape, I am dating myself. That's beta tape, by the way. It's the only beta I've got. But you have a huge advantage on that. And the first thing you do when you make your contact, the first thing ever is establish value, not price. And keep this constantly out there, every communication. You know, we're not for everybody. We've got a valuable product here. It's best in class, hand lamp, whatever it might be, quality components. Let's see what happens when you're selling a machine that's twice as expensive as a cutthroat competition. And here we'll look at an accounting equation. It started out as the value of money and expectations of value in the future, and it had all kinds of formulas and mathematics done in accounting for that, and it's a niche in itself. I'm not that much of an accountant. As you probably know, accounting and HR are my two favorite departments out there. But if we look at this equation that I've adapted, we can tie a dollar figure to a present day value as time goes on. And what we have is future value equals the gain you can expect from this purchase minus your present value, and look at it relative to a year, 2 years, or time as it might be. Let's say that we are making an aircraft engine part. One part takes 2 hours to manufacture. That's start to finish out the door. We can only make 4 parts a day with this method, running one shift. We also, throughout this presentation, are going to talk about 220 work days, which seems to be the standard nowadays. Holidays off, Christmas and vacations and all that kind of thing taken into account. 220 work days. The part cost is $200, and we sell it for $500, which gives us a gain of $300. Pretty simple, straight math. Now we look at 4 parts per day, 220 days gives us 880 parts, times the cost of $200 cost, $176,000 is the cost. We can sell it and we can make $264,000, and that would be over a year. If we have a new contract, we got a new contract, so we have to buy a machine to double our production. And here's where we come in. Brand X, or the cheap guys, are $100,000 and we're at $200,000. Let's see, straight up, there's $100,000 difference. And we'd throw our hat in the ring normally and walk away. You can't do that. You have to look at things, the total scheme of things, and put time in the equation as well. So we make, what we have here is a contract, and we've got the cost of it. If we look at our present value system, we've got $100,000 cost. We expect to make $264,000 gain or profit. That yields $164,000 and the new machine is a profit maker because we're making $164,000 a year the first year. Let's look at the above example and look at a $200,000 machine. Well, if we look at the $264,000 machine, the $200,000 machine, that's only going to give us $64,000 profit if everything else is equal, but it's not. As it happens, this machine costs more because it does more, because it has, instead of 3 axis, it's machining in 5 axis, or it could be measuring in 5 axis, whatever the function is. This machine has new technology, and now we can make that same part that used to take 2 hours. Well, this machine can do it in 1 hour. So let's look and see what we've got as far as that mathematic equation. 1 part is 1 hour. We can make 8 parts now in a day instead of 4. We've doubled production. We have 220 work days. Parts cost same. So 8 parts per day, 220 days gives us 1,760 parts, which is going to cost $352,000, but we're going to make after that we're going to net out $528,000. So we're making $500,000 on this. We plug that in the equation. 528,000 margin or profit or gain minus the cost, we're going to come out ahead by 328,000. That happens to be exactly twice what the other machine would give us over that same time frame. Now, we have to do a reality check. Is this blue smoke and pipe dreams? No, not really. There are new technologies constantly emerging, and as a salesperson, we've got to be involved in this and keep up with these new technologies, new developments, new products, new features. And there are many studies where you can cut the manufacturing time by 50% or more. Absolutely, this is true. You can pick up any periodical, go on the internet, Google it, and you'll see that there are case studies on 5-axis technology. With 5-axis, you only have one setup from start to finish to machine the part. You have CAD software that can come up with better ways, more effective ways for tool paths for machining and cut the time in half. You have advanced programming technologies to monitor tool wear. It's totally possible to get a 50% reduction, especially if you're dealing with a plant that's not been updated since 1960 or 70. Not a plant, but a manufacturing facility, like a job shop that's grown into a pretty high-yield machine shop. You have to carry the word, though. Now, that's one way of looking at it. If you have a high-priced machine compared to the competition, one other way to do it is to look at the total cost of ownership, or TCO. When we buy a piece of capital equipment, we need to look at total lifespan of the machine and the cost to operate it over a period of time and put a value on it. This is the only way we'll know how this machine will compare to a similar machine we're thinking of buying. And that particular formula is initial cost, which is a purchase price. You add the operating cost. For this example, we're going to roll that operating cost into fixed cost, electric, air, water, etc. Maintenance cost for this specific machine, what is a maintenance calibration cost, downtime cost associated with this particular machine, production cost, we're going to roll that into the part cost and not really take care of it in this valuation, and the remaining value, which is the devaluation at the end of the life. And let's take a look at this scenario at this point. Let's see, we've got investment, maintenance, downtime, and remaining value of it. And let's look at the two machines over a 5-year period. First one is the cheap machine tool, $100,000. There could be a cheap machine, could be anything there, welder, plasma cutter, whatever, measurement machine. $100,000 sell price, okay? It's going to take maintenance of $25,000 for software updates over 5 years, not unrealistic. Annual maintenance is 4 days plus travel each year, times 5, $25,000. Downtime, it's going to be down for about 20 days over that 5-year period. And we're figuring $1,000 per day you're losing on that because you're not making parts. That's just overhead, burden rate, whatever it might be. And you take your $100,000 initial investment divided by 10 years, gives you your depreciation per year. We crank it all out, and it's basically going to cost you $210,000 to operate the machine over a 5-year period. $210,000. That's all right. We don't have anything else to compare it. We'll just keep that number out there. A high-end machine tool cost $150,000 more, or $150,000. So we're $50,000 more expensive. But if you look at it, the software are not so hateful on this. They're considerably less. The maintenance, because it's a well-made machine using quality parts, is not going to wear out. So we've got a 2-day downtime every time it's required annual maintenance plus travel. That's $12,000. Your downtime is significantly lower because you don't have to put that much time into it because it's not going to wear out because, again, of the quality parts. And you go through your calculations on your depreciation. Your depreciation is going to be something like $15,000 a year per year. The total operating cost is going to be $137,000. So there you go. Initially, the purchase price for the cheap machine was $50,000 less. When you look at the math and go through it, the operating cost, the ownership cost of that cheap machine compared to the new machine is going to be $73,000 difference. So that's that compared to the initial $50,000 price difference. I think you know which way you're going on that. The reality check. Is it realistic to discuss total cost of ownership between the two machines? Absolutely. That's fair game. Why is this happening, and why is it this important? Well, the whole bottom line here is cheap machine manufacturers give away their machine, but they get the money back because they're going to hold you hostage to their service guys only working on their machine, their software only working on their machine. The cheap parts are going to last during the warranty period, but after that, expect high replacement cost, and those parts are not cheap, let me tell you. Aftermarket pricing, it could be 2 to 3x, 3 times the cost that they pay for it, or you'd pay for it, because it's your sole source. You're being held hostage. You've got replacement parts, belts, air filters, bearings, all have to come from one place only, those guys. So that's how they get their money back. The other thing is software updates. You have to buy their software updates every single year. If you skip a year, they come back and back charge you for that. They won't do the helpline or anything else like that if you don't pay the maintenance cost on the software. So it's totally possible with that situation there. With that said, that's the end of my presentation on pricing, but the key thing to remember is just because you're priced high or higher or significantly higher, the game's not over. It's not. I think Bluto said it best in an Animal House. It's not over till we say it's over. So in any event, hang in there. Let me know what you think on comments on this non-human photo type of situation here. And love to hear your comments. Also, if you want to, feel free to contribute in PayPal. And I'm out of here. Thank you.